Travel consideration provided by...
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and nutrients to support immune health.
Stephen, did you know a TurboTax Live expert can do your simple tax return for you? For free. It's true. For limited time, TurboTax is free for simple returns, even when an expert files for you.
Tomorrow on ET, only we can take you to the set of The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
Okay, this wig's gonna be important. I can't believe this is happening.
Then Jared Leto's Joker return.
I'm super excited to share that with audiences.
Our night with Jared and fellow Oscar winner turned co-star Anne Hathaway.
But before we go, we loved seeing Mary reunite at the Super Bowl. Look at them.
And we want new music, and now Erica Campbell has given it to us. She has a new song and a music video called Positive. It's out tomorrow.
Happening now.
After more than 70 years, this is all that a devastating fire left of Hakala. More than a beloved Mexican restaurant, it was a San Antonio institution. What's next for its longtime employees? That story coming up.
A little cold front's going to pay us a visit tonight. We'll talk about what that means for Friday and the weekend, and we'll go over our next chance of storms in just a bit.
As the war rages on in Ukraine, there's a huge need for medical supplies for those who are wounded and injured. How you can help. The News at 5 starts right now. What was known as San Antonio's oldest originally owned Mexican restaurant is no more. Hakala had been a fixture on the near northwest side since 1949, that is, but today it was declared a total loss after a stubborn fire swept through it. Tonight, the cause and the damage estimate are unknown. Hakala's owners say that they're just grateful that none of their 40 employees were injured there. Jussie Smollett now with where they go from here.
This is my home. My second home.
Or it was, since the early 50s, soon after Hakala first opened its doors.
I've been here 68 years working at Hakala.
The one-time busboy and Hakala's self-described jack of all trades, Richard Galvan says he's devastated, like the other employees. They stood in disbelief while still taking photos and video of the unthinkable.
Pasamos aquí cosas buenas, malas y de todo, y nos vimos como familia.
Here we experienced the good and bad, says Maria Eligio. Through it all, she says, we were like family.
Devastating, really. I mean, it hurts a lot.
Hakala's co-owner says at least her employees will still have jobs thanks to the owners of some other well-known Mexican restaurants.
All our employees, with the shifts that they want, with the whatever they want, out of all this nightmare that we have, and our hearts are broken. And that's the only blessing. And it's God sent.
On top of the loyalty of Hakala customers like Cindy Martinez.
There are no words. We've been coming here for years. Hopefully they'll rebuild. Who knows?
A question the co-owner says she can't answer right now.
I don't know. Just breathe a little bit, I guess.
Jussie Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
Meantime, new at 5 right now, San Antonio police are investigating the shooting of a 14-year-old outside of an apartment complex. It happened sometime around 1 this afternoon at the Guild Park Apartments. It's in the 700 block of West Mayfield. That's near South Cross Boulevard on the city's south side. SAPD says the victim and the witnesses were uncooperative, so they do not know how the shooting happened. Police say a teenager was taken to a nearby hospital and is expected to be okay. This is an ongoing investigation. We have learned the name of a man who died in a fatal crash this weekend. Medical examiners identifying him as 36-year-old Jose Guadalupe Moya. It happened yesterday, Sunday morning, just after 1 on Bandera Road. Police say that Moya was driving the wrong way on Bandera Road. That was when he was hit by another vehicle head-on. Moya was killed on impact. The other driver suffered serious injuries. We have a breaking news update to the crash that killed 9 people in West Texas. The National Transportation Safety Board now saying that a 13-year-old was driving the pickup truck that struck the van in West Texas that killed 9 people. Investigators say that pickup truck crossed the center line and slammed headfirst into the van. It was carrying the University of the Southwest men's and women's golf teams. They were on their way back to New Mexico hours after playing in a tournament. A mother of one of those victims is speaking out.
She was the life of the party. She loved to sing, and she was just always having the best time.
Both passengers inside the truck were also killed. 2 other students were rushed to the hospital by helicopter. They are in critical condition. Our RJ Marquez talked with the coach of Pleasanton High School's graduate Travis Garcia, who was also killed in that crash. That interview is coming up at 6. A man shot while pumping gas on the city's north side this morning. Police say it happened just before 8 o'clock at the Carry-On gas station on Loop 410 in Vance Jackson. They say a man in his mid-30s was pumping gas when another man came up to him. He then shot the man who was gassing up and took off. The shooter was caught just 10 minutes later, a few blocks away. Police believe this shooting was random, but they are speaking with witnesses. At last check, the victim remains in critical condition. The war in Ukraine now in its 4th week, and there are growing indications that Russia's advance is now stalling. Nevertheless, Russian forces continue to escalate their attacks on civilian targets. President Biden now calling President Putin's actions inhumane, one day after calling him a war criminal. ABC's Elizabeth Schultze has the latest from Washington.
Russia's advance on Ukraine is meeting fierce resistance from determined Ukrainian forces. The UK Defense Ministry saying today it thinks the Russian invasion of Ukraine has largely stalled on all fronts.
President Putin's invasion of Ukraine is not going to plan. The Ukrainian people haven't welcomed the Russian military. They haven't submitted. On the contrary, they're fighting with extraordinary courage.
Still, Russia is unrelenting in its airstrikes, shelling civilian targets.
These attacks that we've seen most recently appear to be focused directly on civilians.
Ukrainian President Zelensky today visiting his citizens at a hospital in Kyiv who've been injured by Russian attacks. And the search for survivors is now underway at this theater in Mariupol that served as a mass shelter. The building was struck despite satellite images showing the words children in Russian visible from the air. A day after calling Vladimir Putin a war criminal for the first time, President Biden with more harsh words for the Russian leader.
Putin's brutality and what he's doing and his troops are doing in Ukraine is just inhumane.
Now, here in D.C., the House is scheduled to vote on legislation to revoke Russia's status as a normal trading partner. That would open the door to more tariffs on Russian goods. Elizabeth Schultze, ABC News, Washington.
Back here at home, San Antonio continuing to show its support for Ukrainian people with a medical supply drive happening at the Hilton Garden Inn. The nonprofit Ukrainian San Antonio is spearheading this event. It is collecting medical supplies like bandages and dressings. Photojournalist Bill Caldera was there. Take a look.
Get the boys out here to carry this. There's some people in need, and what little we can do here, we can at least do something.
A lot of Ukrainians, they just died from bleeding, so we need tourniquets to just stop bleeding.
We just brought some medical supplies. Hopefully you can get to Ukraine in time.
My daughter's on spring break, and I think it's really important for our children to realize that the freedom and the benefits that we have, there's other people who are fighting for their lives and are in need of food and medical supplies and clothes. And so I brought her here today with me on her spring break so that we could both do this together and give back.
Businesses, nonprofits, helping the Ukrainian Association here in San Antonio with the needed supplies.
We know what's in this backpack? No, it's a full med.
We have some Ukrainian team, we call it medical team. They develop a list.
So the boxes are labeled by numbers, and those are the different categories of supplies that are going.
First category is first aid.
Emergency, dressing, gauze, those are the types that are going in there. For number 2, we have hospital equipment.
Third category is like ibuprofen, drops for eyes.
And then 4 is surgical supplies.
But our program is towards civilians, towards simple people, towards doctors who are helping civilians to get out from the ruined buildings, from the cars, from the shootings.
It takes actions to demonstrate compassion, and that's what's happening here.
And it's amazing. We really appreciate everyone who is doing it for us.
When you think you don't have something to give, you do. So please help.
Again, that was Bill Caldera. A surprise development in the Jussie Smollett case. The actor who has gone to jail just last week for staging a hate crime has been released. Smollett was seen walking out of a Chicago jail last night, though, joined by security guards and his family. Again, just last week, Smollett was sentenced to 5 months behind bars after being convicted of staging a hate crime he claimed had been committed by anti-black and anti-gay Trump supporters. Police learned it was staged in order for him to get publicity. Yesterday, an Illinois appeals court ordered Smollett to be released, saying Smollett's offense was nonviolent.
We're here because the appellate court realized this was the right thing to do.
Meanwhile, Smollett's appeal centers around the concept of double jeopardy. His lawyers are arguing that he already paid a fine and served community service. Prosecutors are arguing the fine and the community service were part of a voluntary agreement and not punishment. Smollett's next court date will be determined once his lawyers file their appeal. The Riverwalk is going green, quite literally. The river died to kick off the St. Patrick's Day festivities. The annual event put on by Visit San Antonio, the city, as well as the Mad Dog Restaurant Group. The dye is used, it's actually environmentally friendly. It lasts for about 2 days. So from now till Saturday, there's going to be all kinds of fun things to do on the Riverwalk. There's green beer and even a tater tot eating contest.
A lot of people, only come down the Riverwalk when their friends and family are coming in from out of town, but they shouldn't, because this is a great time and a lot of fun.
The river's going to be dyed green again before this Saturday's annual St. Patrick's Day River Parade. Taking a live look outside, this is I-10 at Woodlawn. It appears the outgoing traffic a bit tight there on the right side of your screen. However, inbound traffic appears to be moving quite nicely. Adam?
Yeah, and today we started off at 53, 78, the high temperature, and currently our readings are generally from the 70s to well into the 80s, even some lower 90s. A big difference temperature-wise because of lingering clouds east of I-35. So Seguin now 74. Meanwhile, Del Rio with all-day sunshine at 92 degrees. 80 in Lavernia, 79 Universal City, but 86 under the full sunshine in Utopia. Still a bit of humidity in the air locally, but you look just off to the west of town, and that's where we have the Texas dry line moving in. So critical fire weather conditions west of I-35 through this evening into the early nighttime hours because of that very dry air from the dry line. That just means should there be such a grass fire or a structure fire, it would spread rapidly. Winds are going to be picking up as well. Comfortable out there this evening temperature wise. 73 at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 68. Midnight, a weak cold front moves through, but that will have some impacts on your Friday, even the weekend. We're going to talk about that, what it means temperature-wise, and when our next chance of storms is back in the picture coming up.
Thank you, Adam. It's been said that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but it also tends to be a forgotten meal when you're in a rush out the door. Marilyn Moritz tells us how we can make one quickly and healthily. Coming up tonight at 6, we're going to hear from the Pleasanton High School golf coach about the young man who died in that fiery crash in West Texas, along with 8 others, how Travis Garcia is being remembered. Plus, San Antonio's spring break hotspots are hopping after the first near normal spring break in 2 years, how the theme parks are handling the surge in visitors while dealing with a sluggish labor market. And Bernie busting at the seams, growing with no sign of slowing, how the Hill Country is building its transit plan to help with all that new traffic. Those stories and more coming up tonight at 6. Breakfast, you already know it's the most important meal of the day, right? Well, a lot of us just grab a piece of toast and go, or skip it altogether. 12 on our side's Marilyn Moritz has the experts' advice on making a breakfast that's healthy and easy.
It's a morning time squeeze for Annette Lizette. Feeding your kids a healthy breakfast before school can be challenging.
Getting them something to eat quickly in the time that I have So it's either like a waffle, cereal, or even granola bars.
Breakfast doesn't have to be elaborate to be healthy. Check your dairy aisle. Yogurt is packed with nutrients, protein, bone-building calcium, and blood pressure balancing potassium. Plain yogurt has no added sugars, just topped with fruit for flavor. Cottage cheese is low in calories and high in protein. You can add it to smoothies or scramble it into the eggs. Cereal is easy and doesn't need to be overly sugary or bland and boring.
The almonds have a pretty good flavor. I do taste the cinnamon. It's very faint, which is kind of refreshing.
Consumer Reports' top picks include Nature's Path Organic Heritage Flakes, Post Great Grains Raisin Dates and Pecans, and General Mills Cheerios.
All of our top-rated cereals contain whole grains, which are linked to lower rates of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. And now you can find added sugar on the label and keep that number under 6 grams per serving.
What about eggs? They can be more filling than cereals. Just add some veggies to make a breakfast that's healthy and delicious. And instead of drinking fruit juice, CR says try whole fruit instead. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Let's look outside with live cam. Boy, did it get pretty. I know Justin Horn earlier was getting a little nervous because those clouds stuck around so late.
Yeah, they were stubborn today, and they can be tricky to forecast. They were pretty thick earlier this morning, and our sun angle, it's just not quite there yet to really burn off those clouds quickly. And they have made a big impact on our temperatures. We'll get into that in a bit. First of all, I want to point out the wind is really going to pick up, especially first thing tomorrow morning. Get ready for a gusty northwesterly wind. And that's going to lead to some cool mornings, but warm afternoons. So back in the pattern of long sleeves in the morning, but then shorts and short sleeves are fine later in the day. And we're still looking at that storm chance coming on Monday. So let's get right to it. First, let's look at the winds. I've been checking the winds in West Texas, and they've been gusting in excess of 50 miles per hour from Marfa toward Midland. Right now, the most recent gusts are in the 40 mile per hour range. This is part of the cold front and even the dry line that's moving toward our area. Winds, not an issue around here right now. Not going to be an issue through the night tonight. But just before sunrise tomorrow, you're really going to notice that gusty wind. I mean, look at our forecast here for the wind gusts. By 4 or 5 a.m., we're talking gusts around 40 miles per hour, and we should see very similar gusts for the first part of the day tomorrow. So get ready for that gusty wind out of the northwest starting first thing tomorrow morning. And it will have an impact on our temperatures a bit as well because of that weak cold front that'll move through tonight. You look at the current readings, and there's a huge difference because of those under the clouds and folks who've had sunshine all day. For example, Gonzales at 70, Victoria 69 under the low gray clouds, but Del Rio at 93 degrees and Cotulla at 91. So a big difference. And even underneath some of those clouds closer to Lavaca County, we could even have a few spritzes and sprinkles, at least just momentarily. But you look at the readings locally, Port SA 79, Stinson 84, Canyon Lake, meanwhile, 68, Los Maples at 86. The difference of just a few hours of cloud cover will make, right? Tomorrow morning, right near 50 degrees. So not necessarily cold tomorrow morning, but a little on the cool side. And then by tomorrow afternoon, we get well into the 70s again. Seguin 77, Helotes at 73, along with Bulverde and Bernie. High temperatures just in that mid to upper 70 degree range through the weekend and even early next week. So no big changes in terms of highs, but we will see that bigger gap from the morning temperature to the afternoon temperature. So short sleeves by the afternoon, but to start the day, maybe a sweatshirt. All right, take a look at the system that's affecting some of our friends off in North Texas and even Oklahoma and points northward. This is a big wound up system. This is the upper level component to you. We talked about the cold front at the ground that's going to be moving through. It's a wound up system. This yellow box there, that indicates the severe thunderstorm watch box, meaning conditions are favorable for storms to become strong to severe. The activity, the moisture is going to stay all north of us. There's a lot of moisture with it. I wish we could have tapped into some of that moisture. Unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. Our next chance isn't until Monday, and that disturbance right now is still over the Aleutian Islands of Alaska. So that's still pretty far away, but right now conditions still look favorable for it to drop in and give us some showers on Monday morning, then the potential for thunderstorms later in the day. Until then, nothing but sunshine. Remember gusty tomorrow. If it's your trash or recycling day or green bin day, get ready because those lids are going to be flapping, and right after that truck comes, we're going to have some barrels falling over as well. Near 50 in the morning, into the 70s by the afternoon, sunny, just gusty. And then by Saturday, morning temperature of 44, but afternoon right up near 80 degrees. So there's that big temperature spread from the morning to the afternoon. Sunday becomes windy again. Monday, you'll actually notice sticky humidity. And right now, we still have it at a 40% chance of scattered thunderstorms into the afternoon.
Thank you, Adam. The Spurs needed a little St. Patty's Day luck last night to make it through that game, but they won.
That was a must win, and they had to win it, and they did at the buzzer, perhaps. When we come back here, we'll show you how Lonnie Walker IV for the win with a three-pointer, and the Cardinals' history-making run at the NCAA tournament comes to an end. But what a season coming up. With four-time NBA champions Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker in the house last night, our San Antonio Spurs got a much-needed win against the Oklahoma City Thunder that allowed them to move up to number 11 in the Western Conference standings, just a game and a half behind the Pelicans, who hold the 10th and final play-in position before hosting New Orleans tomorrow night. It started out to be a blowout, turned into a fight to the finish against the Thunder. Keldon Johnson's contested three from the corner was part of an 8-0 Spurs run that got the Silver and Black out to a 16-point lead in the third quarter. But the Thunder chip away at that double-digit advantage and, in fact, take the lead behind Alexei Pokusevski's driving layup to give OKC a 120-119 lead with under 5 to play until Lonnie Walker IV hits the game-winning three-pointer, the 1.8 seconds left for the Spurs to survive, 122-120. Bang! Right there. Walker surprised the Thunder didn't foul him with 1 to give.
Essentially, no. I mean, it's a young team. You know, it's not like it's a vet team where they know what to get into, but I mean, they almost had me. I lost the ball a little bit, but just regathered it. Thank God.
Another must-win tomorrow against New Orleans. Congratulations to the UIW women's basketball team after making it to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history, taking on Howard in one of those 4 playing games last night. UIW's Jacqueline Moore drives and pulls up at the elbow for the jumper and the lead by 2 after 1. UIW would lead by 5 after this basket in the paint from Destiny Terrell. Final seconds of the first half, Moore throwing it up off the glass for the bank, and the Cardinals are up 2 at the half. Tiana Gardner makes the quick move to get to the basket and put it up and in. She led UIW with 16 points. 1 minute to play, UIW down 3, and this shot is off the mark, and it appears to be touched last by Howard, but after a review, the ball is called out on Incarnate Word. Howard capitalizes. Brooklyn Fort Davis with a bucket that seals a win. UIW falls 55-51. The detention of former Baylor, now WNBA star Brittany Griner in Russia has been extended to May 19th. That's after Russian officials say a search of her luggage back on February the 17th revealed vape cartridges containing oil that is derived from cannabis. Griner has actually played in Russia for the last 7 years, earning over $1 million per season.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Cleveland Browns have been informed by the Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson they are no longer in the running for a trade for his services. That happened today, leaving the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons as possible landing spots. As far as Mayfield is concerned, he has requested a trade, which has been denied by the Browns. He's telling everybody he's nobody's plan B. So that's a relationship that is falling apart.
That's going to be a problem.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Sure.
We'll be right back.
Quiet tonight, temperatures falling down to near 50 by tomorrow morning, and headline tomorrow, gusty winds up to 40 miles per hour first thing in the morning, otherwise sunny, and then into the 70s by the afternoon. A big gap between the morning and afternoon temperature, Saturday and Sunday especially. Mornings in the mid-40s, afternoons closer to 80 degrees. And then by Monday, that's our next chance of showers and even a few thunderstorms. We're keeping an eye on it. Check back in. Some storms have the potential of being strong.
That wind again. Thank you, Adam. And thank you for watching the News at 5 with us. World News is next.